Hey, welcome to the podcast. This is the Surge Effect, and this podcast, well, it'll probably have an effect on you. Well, hello, and welcome to another episode of the Surge Effect. In today's podcast, we're going to be talking about what happened just the other day. Mark Carney lying again about talking with Trump, and Trump saying about the 51st state. Just shed a little bit of light on this for you and hopefully give you a better understanding of what transpired. So let's get at it. And at the end, I was going to show a couple of Pierre Poilievre videos at the very end. But basically, this is about Mark Carney, this one here. So here we go. So the first one is basically Pierre Poilievre at his rally in Saskatchewan the other day. And this is what he said.
Before I get into this, there's an emergency. Do we have a firefighter in the house? Do you see? You have a firefighter? Okay. Mark Carney's pants are on fire again today. Can you help? Can you help? Did you hear his latest whopper? Yeah, today Mark Carney was caught lying about the Trump telephone call because he wanted to distract from the lost Liberal decade of rising cost and crime to trick Canadians into electing Liberals for a fourth disastrous term. We cannot trust Mark Carney and the Liberals to a fourth Liberal term, because if they're lying about this, they'll lie about inflation and taxes and housing costs and crime and everything else that matters in our daily lives.
Canada first for a change. Okay, so this was dropped, of course, in the paper the other day. This is the Toronto Star, and this was dropped, of course, because it literally just happened, right? So Mark Carney confirms Donald Trump raised the 51st state desire in his phone conversation. So he's saying that Trump brought up about the 51st state. He confirms it. But as you can see, there's a bit of a conflict in what Carney's saying. So Carney says Trump raised the 51st state during their call. And that's what he said. That was yesterday again, April 24th, because today's April 25th. So this is from a staffer at the House of Commons. So Carney lied to make it sound like Trump respects him, and Carney has already proposed renegotiations, but only after the election. He's lying to Canadians. Sounds like Carney went into the corner with his head down, and he took a Trump elbow to the face. Elbows up indeed, is what that person tweets out. So I'm going to play a couple of videos for you, and this is, you can hear it right from the reporter asking the question to Mark Carney's mouth.
Yes or no, did Mr. Trump bring up the 51st state in his call with you?
I said that he did. I said that he did. But the president, to be clear, the president respected Canada's sovereignty today, both in his private and public comments. President respected Canada's sovereignty. The president respected Canada's sovereignty today, both in his private and public comments. The president respected Canada's sovereignty today, both in his private and public comments.
There you go.
I asked you about this on March 28th after the call, and you said that President Trump respected Canada's sovereignty both privately and in his public conversations.
He did.
Were you being truthful?
He absolutely did. He absolutely did. Look.
Listen to his voice at the end. He absolutely did. He absolutely did. Yeah, that's a dead giveaway. He definitely is not telling the truth. So here is Bloc leader, of course, Blanchet, Francois Blanchet. That's what he says yesterday.
It's more and more to have been a stunt. He wanted to make a statement. I am Mark Carney. I'm the best of them all. I'm a great negotiator. I have managed crisis in the past. I would change the world. Trust me. And it appears that it never happened. that the call was not what has been described afterwards, that there was no agreement, no support for Canada's sovereignty, no beginning for a deal, just the show of a man who wanted to pretend something which appears today not to be true. I believe many people in Canada and in Quebec will say, what the hell is that? And if that is not true, what else is not true?
Exactly. And this is the pretense of his whole campaign. It's on fear. It's all about fear. Poilievre's looking after his campaign on hope, freedom, and hope. And Carney is on fear. It's a very powerful thing, and people fall for it all the time. So here's the CBC.
The CBC's
They're going to drop their little take on what's transpired. Here they go.
Ashley Burke is following Carney's campaign this week. Ashley.
David, Liberal leader Mark Carney faced questions today about if he was being truthful and transparent with Canadians about his call with Donald Trump last month. After the two leaders spoke on March 28th, I asked Carney about it. He said Trump respected Canada's sovereignty in his private and public comments. But Radio Canada learned Trump did bring up the idea of Canada being a 51st state on that call. After being asked by journalists today about it, Carney confirmed that's true, but said Trump brings it up all the time and that during their call, the U.S. president absolutely did respect him as prime minister and respect Canada. He says they both agreed as sovereign nations they begin negotiations after the election about its economic and security relationship. Now, Carney has based his entire campaign around this pitch that he says he's the best one to take on Donald Trump and win the trade war.
That's the whole thing once again. He's saying that he's the guy that can take on Donald Trump. He's the best person for the job to do this. It's all from fear. But the conversation wasn't what he said it was. It didn't turn out to be what he said it was. So if he's lying about that, what else is he going to be lying about? These are the things that people have to look at and think about on their own. So here's another CTV take on what transpired the other day.
Problematic for Mr. Carney in that you can't say that in conversing with the president, he was respectful of our sovereignty and just forget to mention that he talked about us as becoming the 51st state again. Those two things don't line up.
Exactly. They don't line up. People see this, right? So how about CTV and watching their take on what transpired? It's nice to see, for a change, CBC and CTV actually coming forward and calling stuff out like it is.
Well, Sandy, 4 weeks ago, the Liberal leader said the U.S. president respected Canada's sovereignty in private conversation and in public comments. However, today we learned in that March 28th call with Donald Trump, the American leader did bring up the specter of Canada becoming the 51st state.
I said that he did. I said that he did.
Carney was not that clear when asked about it immediately after the call with Trump. Now, Trump's threat on our sovereignty has been one of the main issues of his campaign as party leaders try to convince Canadians who could be the best person to sit across the table from the U.S. president. Yesterday, Trump spoke about his relationship with Carney.
He was very, very nice, I will say. Very nice. We had a couple of very nice conversations, very good. But I don't think it's appropriate for me to get involved in their election.
That's right. He shouldn't, because it'll be a back and forth. But that lie is still a lie, and what transpired the other day still transpired, and it shouldn't have. He just needs to tell the truth. Just be honest. A thing called being transparent to the Canadian people. Speaking of transparency, here is the people that were in Trudeau's cabinet, and here's the people that were in Carney's cabinet. Now, there's a saying from years ago, of course. It's in regards to doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. It's a definition of insanity. Supposedly that was quoted by Albert Einstein. So why on God's green earth would we want to do the same thing? Why would anyone in their right mind want to do the same thing we've done for the last 10 years? And then ask yourself this question. These are the same people, same everything. They're going to do the exact same thing they've done for the last 10 years. How are we going to get out of the hole If Carney has tied our hands with Bill C-69 with our resources, with our oil and with our gas, how are we going to get out of the hole? He wants to spend another $130 or $250 billion, $250 billion. You're going to print more money, create more inflation. How are we paying this off? What resource do we have to pay it off if you're tying our hands and we can't get it out of the ground? Ask yourself that question. These people that think that the Liberals are just going to miraculously just fix everything, they're living in a dream world. Here's a little tweet from iFood Real. I'm a 43-year-old woman who immigrated from Ukraine 25 years ago. I'm voting conservative because I escaped socialism and communism, and I do see signs of it in Liberal Party. I want my kids to live in it. I want my kids to not live in it. I'm concerned for freedom of speech. I want crime to be punished properly and drug addiction health with properly. So a little broken English there on her part, but still, you get the idea and what she's trying to say. Here is a clip of a former premier from Saskatchewan, and this is what he had to say about Canada and Mark Carney.
2007 in Saskatchewan,
Pierre Poilievre.
We had an election where the opposition party was offering hope and the governing party was offering fear. Fear that was based on the very economic conditions that the governing party had helped to create. Does that sound familiar at all? In this election, the Liberals are asking Canadians to re-elect them, to protect us from the conditions that they have created. And so I can't help but wonder why good people would consider voting for more of that, more of the same. The answer must be fear. And I get it. Anyone would feel concerned based on what we have seen coming from down south since the presidential election. But we have a choice in this election, a much better choice than to vote just out of fear. Because Pierre Poilievre and his Conservative team have presented to Canadians a plan. It is a credible plan for success, for growth for the country, for affordability. Canada's most successful business leaders have stepped forward to endorse that plan. So have the people that work in those industries. So have their unions. 18 years ago, Saskatchewan chose hope over fear, and we've really never looked back.
Hope over fear. You'll never look back. That is a fact. Hope over fear. Don't let fear drive your decisions in life. This is the rally for Pierre Poilievre in Saskatchewan last night.
From all across the province. So the candidates that are here, it's great to have them here. And I would like to just insist that you guys vote. Now, how many of you have already voted? Excellent. That's wonderful. And if you haven't voted yet, make sure you know who you're voting.
What a huge turnout in Saskatchewan. And of course, big shout out to the pleb, because the pleb was there again. And he does live streaming, which does a great job, and walks down and asks people what they, what they feel about and what's going on in this country. Here's some Leaf fans from the other night. If people didn't hear this, they're shouting a certain something. Listen to what they say.
Poilievre! We want Poilievre! Poilievre! We want Poilievre!
That's pretty cool. Very, very cool. So one of the last clips here, this is Jordan Peterson on Joe Rogan. This is what they said a little bit about Canada, of course, and Carney.
First 3 chapters will do the trick. Well, now, either he's decided that every single thing he ever believed was wrong right to the core and hasn't apologized or let anyone know that, and now he's actually Mr. Industry, which is how he's presenting himself to Canadians, or he believes what he's always believed.
Or he's a wolf wearing grandma's dress.
Yeah, he's a benevolent wolf. Well, that's why the wolf wears grandma's dress, isn't it? It's like, there's no one nicer than me.
So how does Canada correct course?
Well, people either correct course by waking up or by experiencing severe pain. And it looks to me like we've chosen the severe pain route.
So once again, fear over hope or freedom. But fear is a powerful thing. And we've had 10 years of pain, 10 years in this country. It's time for a change.
So
This is what Pierre Poilievre just dropped today. This is what he had to say about what his people will do in the summertime.
I have some good news and bad news. The good news is Canadians can elect a government that will bring change. The bad news for the politicians is your summer vacation is canceled. We are going to keep Parliament open all summer long to pass 3 laws to bring change. 1, the Affordability for a Change Act. 2, the Safe Streets for a Change Act. And 3, the Bring Home Our Jobs for a Change Act. And until these laws are passed, Parliament will not shut down for summer vacation. We need change. Change can't wait, but the politicians' vacations will have to wait.
Now, that's a politician that's looking after our best interest, because they're not going to have a vacation until those laws are passed. That's fantastic. Now, I'm going to show you one last picture, and this is just before I sign off. And this is what Justin Trudeau did to this country just before he left. Under Justin Trudeau, dozens of Liberal Party loyalists and donors were appointed to the Senate. Despite never being elected, they will be there until they're 75 years old. And does the Senate, do they need to reform? Now, he did this, of course, because now that if you're top heavy with Liberals in the Senate, these people that are appointed, they're going to, they can sway a lot of very, very important votes on a lot of different bills coming through that House. That is a fact. So that's that. So just in a nutshell, let me know what you think in the comments. Check them out below. That's it for today's podcast. Thanks a lot for subscribing. Much appreciated. Please share these videos. Like the videos. Helps with the algorithm, because YouTube, they suppress a lot of people like myself that have been doing this for a couple of years now, and my videos don't get a lot of views because they don't rack up, I guess, with what YouTube thinks is okay. But this is all political stuff. Like I've mentioned, the pleb, Moose and the Loose, Mr. Sunshine Baby, these people that I've seen, what's the other one? Fringe, Unhinged, and of course, Jasmine Lane. Fantastic. All these people are fantastic, and they're great to watch. And we all kind of cover the same kind of thing, but some get covered and some don't. It's the way it is. But hey, like I said, share them, like them, subscribe. Much apprecited. I always like to sign off my videos talking about life. Life is tough, really tough. No one said it was going to be easy. My parents never told me it was going to be easy. And everyone goes through something in this life, in this world and in this life. And what you have to do, you have to keep moving forward. You got to keep moving forward. It's tough, but you got to keep going forward, not backwards. There's nothing for you back there. Yesterday's history. Tomorrow's a mystery. And today's a present. That's why they call it the gift. Until next time, everyone, have a great day. Cheers.